Love. It's the subject of countless poems and songs, it's the engine behind our greatest stories, and it's probably one of the most powerful things any of us will ever feel. But what is it really? I mean, when you get right down to it, is love just a clever trick our biology plays on us to keep the human race going? Or is it something way, way bigger?
So let's really get into this. Here's our game plan. We're going to start with the mystery itself. Then we'll put on our lab coats and look at love as a biological blueprint. After that, we'll zoom way out and explore it as a universal force. Then, the really interesting part, seeing how those two ideas might actually fit together. And finally, we'll talk about why getting this right really matters today.
You know, for basically all of human history, we've been wrestling with this question. Think about it. Poets, philosophers, artists, and now scientists. Everyone has tried to pin down what love actually is, to somehow capture this incredible feeling with words or formulas.
And that really brings us to the heart of the debate, right? This is the central conflict we're digging into. On one side, you've got this very neat, scientific explanation, a story all about chemicals and genes. But on the other, you have this profound, almost spiritual idea of love as a fundamental energy in the universe. So, which is it?
All right, let's start with the science. From a strictly biological point of view, love isn't all that mysterious. In fact, it's an incredibly practical and powerful tool for survival.
So the core idea here is that love is kind of like an emotional glue. I mean, think about it. Human babies are completely helpless for years, so evolution needed something super powerful to make sure parents would stick around and protect them, and that's where the chemistry of love kicks in.
And it turns out our brains follow a pretty clear two-step program. First, you get that dizzying, can't eat, can't sleep, totally obsessed phase of infatuation. That's your brain getting a massive hit of dopamine. It's literally a high. But then, if the relationship continues, your brain switches gears into attachment mode, using hormones like oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, to build a stable, long-term bond.
And what's so wild is just how specific this chemical cocktail is. Dopamine provides that feeling of pleasure and motivation. Norepinephrine gives you the racing heart and that burst of energy. And get this, your serotonin levels actually drop, which can lead to that obsessive, I can't stop thinking about them feeling. Then later, oxytocin and vasopressin come in to build trust and a sense of protectiveness. It's literally a recipe for falling and staying in love.
It gets even more amazing. It seems like our genes are playing matchmaker without us even knowing it. We are often subconsciously drawn to people who have very different immune system genes from our own. Why? Well, the evolutionary theory is that this genetic variety gives our potential kids the best possible defense against diseases. It's pretty incredible stuff.
But here's where the purely biological view starts to run into some trouble. It's fantastic at explaining the how, right? The chemical reactions, the evolutionary drives, but it kind of struggles with the why. It doesn't fully explain selfless, altruistic love, or deep platonic friendships, or even our own free will to choose a partner against our type. It explains the mechanics, but it doesn't quite capture the meaning.
Okay, so let's take off the lab coat and zoom way out. For thousands of years, philosophers and spiritual thinkers have suggested a totally different idea, that love isn't just a mechanism inside us, but maybe it's a fundamental force all around us. And this is not a new idea at all. The ancient Greeks were all over this. They knew that love was too small a word. They had different names for its different flavors. Eros was that passionate romantic desire. Philia was the love of deep friendship. And agape was this incredible, unconditional, selfless love for humanity itself.
The philosopher Plato took this idea even further. To him, love, especially Eros, wasn't just about attraction to another person. No. It was a divine madness, a cosmic force that pushes us to search for ultimate truth, goodness, and beauty. It's a spiritual quest.
And you see this idea echoed all over the world. In Buddhism, the practice of metta, or loving kindness, is seen as the path to ending suffering for everyone. In Hinduism, bhakti yoga is the path of pure, devotional love for the divine as a way to achieve spiritual freedom. In these traditions, love isn't a tool for survival. It's the very goal of existence.
From the poet Rumi to Christian mystics, you hear the same idea again and again. Love is the ultimate reality. It's the fabric holding the universe together. It's not just something we feel, it's something the universe is.
Okay, so we've got these two huge, powerful explanations that seem to be in complete opposition to each other. So what do we do? How on earth can we bring these two worlds together?
Yeah, which one is it? Are we just incredibly complex biological machines running on a hormonal program?
Or are we spiritual beings tapping into some universal truth?
Well, what if it's not an either-or question at all? The most compelling answer might just be that these two perspectives aren't in conflict. What if they're just two different ways of describing the same incredible reality?
So, there's this really cool concept in science called an emergent property. Think of it this way. A single molecule of H2O isn't wet, but you get billions of them together, and the property of wetness just emerges. It's a quality of the whole that isn't present in the parts. Well, what if love is like that? What if it arises from our biology, our genes and our hormones, but it becomes something so much bigger, so much more meaningful than just its chemical parts? Our biology might be the instrument, but our consciousness, our culture, our choices, we are the musicians.
So maybe the two views are just asking different questions. Science is explaining the how, the physical machinery, the nuts and bolts, and philosophy and spirituality are exploring the why, the ultimate meaning, the purpose. You really need both for the full picture.
Okay, so why does any of this matter? Why go through this whole exercise? Well, because this integrated view of love has some very real, very practical implications for how we live our lives, especially now.
And this stuff isn't science fiction anymore. As we get better at understanding the biology of love, we crash head-on into some huge ethical questions. I mean, what if we could develop love drugs? Would that make relationships more stable, or would it destroy their authenticity? And what about AI? Can a machine without biology or consciousness ever truly love, or will it only ever be a perfect simulation? These are questions we're starting to grapple with right now.
But here's the big takeaway for you and me. Seeing love this way, as both a biological reality and a conscious choice, is actually incredibly empowering. It means we can understand our primal urges without being slaves to them. It means we can choose to intentionally cultivate the deeper, more meaningful aspects of love to build relationships that are more resilient and more fulfilling.
And that leaves us with one last, really crucial thought to chew on. In a world of dating apps and artificial intelligence, the nature of love isn't just a philosophical debate anymore. It's becoming a design choice. The way we understand love will literally shape the technology we build, and that tech will, in turn, shape how we connect with each other. So the real question for all of us is, what kind of love will we choose to create?